Sige
Okay.
guys, so let's have, though na-introduce ko na to, di ba, last meeting, let's have a quick review of the concept of electrical energy. All right, so electricity, no, electrical energy or electricity is around us. Oo, nasa paligid lang natin yan. Like for example, lightning, di ba? Yan, that's a good example of electricity. Lightning is actually electricity. Okay, or sparks when we scuff our feet across a rug. So yung scuff meaning yung kinikis-kis nyo yung paa ninyo sa carpet, ganon. You would feel sparks jumping, para kayong nakuryente. Ayan, so that's electricity also. Or yan, yung pagbukas na lang ng TV, you're operating the remote control, or even today, yung pag-operate nyo lang ng computer, electricity is involved. So, what is electricity? What's our definition of electricity? Now, electricity is defined as the collection or flow of electrons across, let's say, a conductor or even in a medium like air, like in the case of lightning. But we are familiar with that electricity in which electrons flow across a conductor, like a wire, a copper wire. So the collection or flow of electrons in the form of an electric charge. So that's electricity. And if you will notice in our animation, the flow of electrons always follow in this direction from negative terminal to the positive terminal. Okay, electrons are attracted to the positive terminal. Okay, so that's the flow, the direction of the flow of electrons in an electric circuit. Okay, so again, electricity is the presence and flow of electric charge, no, electrons. That refers to the electrons. Using electricity, we can transfer energy in ways that allow us to do simple chores. Okay, like for example, using the vacuum cleaner, you can clean your house by using electricity. Its best known form is the flow of electrons, no, like what I have mentioned earlier, through conductors such as copper wires. When a bunch of atoms are together and electrons are moving from one atom to the other in the same direction, this is called electricity. Kaya nga 'di ba sinabi natin that electricity is the flow of electrons. Ayan, electricity is both a basic part of nature and one of the most widely used forms of energy. Obvious naman, 'di ba? Okay, so that's electricity. So, in electricity, again, charges are involved. So, we have positive charges, ayun yung protons, and the negative charges, those are the electrons. Protons, they carry positive charges, while electrons, they carry negative charges. And from this diagram, we can see that unlike charges, positive is attracted to the negative charge, they attract each other. While like charges, let's say negative to negative or positive to positive, like charges, they tend to repel, while unlike charges, they attract. I'm sure you are familiar with that law. All right, so moving on, let's first define certain words that we will be using in our study of electricity. So the first term that you need to know, guys, is the term current. So what is current? Now, current is the flow of electrons. Yung daloy ng parang tubig din yan, no? Parang Maynilad. So, yung flow of electrons across a conductor is called current. And the current is measured in amperes, no, or amps. Okay, pass a single point in a circuit within a set amount of time. So, ito yung mga conversion units like 1 amp is equivalent to 1 coulomb. Ayan, no? So 1 amp is equivalent to 1 coulomb. Yan. And a coulomb is about, what's this? So, a zillion electrons per second. Ang dami, no? Alright. Electrons are negatively charged. They flow from the negative terminal to the positive terminal. So, na-mention na natin yung kanina, yung flow of electrons from negative to positive. That's how we define current. The current is the flow of electrons, and the current is measured in amperes. Now, naturally, objects have equal number of electrons and protons. Diba? Yung mga neutral objects, they have equal number of protons and electrons. Yan, we call it electrically neutral. Now, if there is an imbalance, the object becomes electrically charged. Hindi na siya neutral. Di ba? Pag neutral, equal yung charges. Pero, pag imbalance na, like let's say at one end you have more protons, the other end you have more electrons, ganun. So, hindi na siya balanced. So, yung object becomes electrically charged. Either the object is positively charged or negatively charged. Depende sa dami ng protons or electrons. Ayan ha. So, an imbalance occurs when electrons are added or removed from an object. Ayan, tandaan nyo guys sa yung statement na yan, that an imbalance occurs when electrons are added or removed from an object. So, how do we add or how do we remove electrons from an object? So, with this statement, we can classify electricity into two types. Now, there are two types of electricity. We have what we call static electricity and current electricity. Okay? And so static and current. Okay, so let's first study what static electricity is. Okay, so by definition, static electricity class is stationary electric charge that is, take note of the words, yung that is built up on a material, creating an imbalance between the positive and negative charges of the material. So, ang ibig lang sabihin nito guys, let's say protons accumulate at one end of the object. So, nagkakaroon ng build-up of protons. So, nagiging positively charged yung object. Or, electrons build up dun sa object. Okay, when electrons build up dun sa material or the object, edi nagiging negatively charged yung object. So, yun ang ibig sabihin nun, ha? Common example of static electricity is the slight electric shock that we get when we touch a car door during dry weather. Yung siguro naramdaman nyo na yan guys, yung parang paghawak nyo, hindi lang car door, pati nga yung pintuan sa bahay, para kayo na kuryente, ganon. Because there is a build-up of charge dun sa doorknob, kaya kayo na kuryente, ganon. Okay? Even lightning, no? Lightning is also an example of static electricity. So, yun ang sinasabi ko guys, no, that there is a build-up of electric charge on an object. So, yun yung static electricity. No? So, the word static means not moving. So, di ba, build up lang yung nag-accumulate yung charges sa object. And walang movement yung electrons. Yun ang ibig sabihin yung guys. So, hindi kagaya yung movement ng electrons through a conductor. Hindi ganon. There is only a build up of charges. Kaya siya tinawag na static. No? The electrons are not really moving from negative to positive like in a conductor. Unlike other electricity does not move through wires. Yun yung static. Hindi siya nagmo-move through a conductor. There's only a build-up of charges. Alright, so if a large enough charge builds up, however, it can jump from one object to another. So pag medyo malaki na yung charge, yung amount of electrons or protons ay talagang nag-build up na yan, ang tendency tatalon. So pag tumalon yung mga charges na yan, we see them as sparks. Alright? Like lightning. Lightning is a giant spark. Kasi nagbi-build up yung mga charges sa clouds and even sa ground. No, kaya pag masyado ng maano yung malaki yung build up ng charge, tatalon yung mga ano yan, yung mga charges na yan from one object to another, and we see them as sparks or an electric discharge. No, kaya linagay ko dito, when static electricity jumps, it is called an electric discharge or sparks. Okay guys, so when two objects rub against each other, electrons are transferred and it is accumulated or it builds up on an object, causing it to have a different charge from its surroundings. So yan, this is one way of accumulating or building up charges, no, yung pag kiniskis nyo yung dalawang objects. Electrons or even protons, they build up on the object, causing it to have an imbalance of charges. No, like for example, yan, yung the shoes rubbing against the carpet. Ayan, subukan nyo to guys sa bahay ninyo. Kahit tsinelas lang, pwede na eh. No, you rub your slippers against the carpet. Electrons are transferred from the carpet to the shoes. Ayan, everybody look at this illustration. So, pag kiniskis nyo daw yung tsinelas ninyo or yung sapatos ninyo against the carpet, the electrons are transferred from the carpet to the shoes. So, yung shoes, nagkakaroon na siya ng build-up ng electrons. So, pagkatapos yung kiskisin yung sapatos ninyo, kiskis meaning rubbing, no? So, pagkatapos niyong i-rub yung sapatos ninyo sa carpet, yung sapatos ninyo becomes negatively charged kasi yung electrons nalipat from carpet to your shoes. So, yung shoes now becomes negatively charged. Yung carpet now becomes positively charged. As you could see, ito sa yung picture after rubbing. So, yung carpet mas maraming protons. Yung shoes mas maraming electrons. Pero before rubbing, ayan, makikita nyo, equal yung protons and electrons. Diba? Alright, so this is one way of transferring electrons, no, by rubbing. Okay, so yun yung static electricity, guys. No, as electrons collect on an object, it becomes negatively charged, diba? Like yung sapatos kanina. So, pag kiniskis nyo yung sapatos sa carpet, yung electrons are transferred from carpet to shoes. So, yung shoes now becomes negatively charged. Yung carpet becomes positively charged. As electrons leave an object, it attains a positive charge like yung carpet. Diba? Yung carpet now, since lumipat na yung mga electrons sa shoes or dun sa tsinelas, the carpet now becomes positively charged. Okay, charges interact with each other. So alam na natin na negative is attracted to positive. Alright? Here's another example. So often when you remove clothes from the clothes dryer, they seem to stick together. No, this is because some of the clothes have gained electrons by rubbing against other clothes. Diba? Yung pag nag-i-spin na yung dryer, diba? So nagkikiskisan yung mga damit sa loob ng dryer. So there's now a buildup of electric charges. The clothes have gained electrons by rubbing against other clothes. The clothes losing electrons become positively charged. The negative clothes are attracted to the positive clothes. Kaya diba tignan nyo after pagkatapos umikot yung spin dryer, diba dikit-dikit yung mga damit? Diba? Not because of centrifugal force, but it's because yung habang nag-rub yung mga damit sa isa't isa, nagkakaroon ng transfer of electrons. Some of the clothes become negatively charged while some of the clothes become positively charged. So we know that unlike charges, they attract. So pagkatapos mag-spin yung dryer, mapapansin nyo yung mga damit, dikit-dikit. Ayan, no? So that's it. Pansit, guys. No? All right, that's another example of static electricity at work. Ayan, no? Or ito, have you ever rubbed a balloon on your hair and stuck it on a wall? Diba? O, ito kagaya nito. Ayan, no? So, subukan nyo to, guys. No, try to rub a balloon dun sa buhok ninyo. So, what happens? Ayan. So, yung electrons from your hair lilipat sa balloon. So, the balloon now becomes negatively charged. Yung buhok ninyo, since yung mga electrons lumipat dun sa balloon, yung buhok ninyo naging positively charged. And as a rule, unlike charges attract, so opposite charges attract. So yung buhok ninyo na namamagnet dun sa balloon, parang namamagnet siya as indicated in our illustration. Diba yan? So magandang demonstration ito, no, about static electricity. Ayan, no? So we can charge or we can transfer electrons from one object to another using rubbing, like rubbing a balloon on your hair. Electrons move from your hair to the balloon. So your hair now becomes positively charged, yung balloon now becomes negatively charged. Yan, no? Electrons move from your hair to the balloon because atoms in the rubber have a greater attraction for the electrons. Ayan, guys, magandang demonstration ito. Okay, here's another demonstration of static electricity. Electrons are held more firmly in rubber or plastic than in your hair. Thus, when a comb is rubbed through your hair, the electrons are transferred from the hair to the comb. So, yung comb nagiging nagiging negatively charged. Oh, ayan, no, 'di ba? Nagiging negatively charged after rubbing. Kasi na-transfer yung electrons from your hair to the comb. Kaya yung comb, tingnan nyo guys, so parang nagiging magnet, the comb can attract objects. Yan, parang, pero hindi siya magnetized in a sense. This is only attraction because of opposite charges. So, walang kinalaman ng magnetism dito. It's yung kaya na yung paper na attracts sa comb, it's because yung comb is negatively charged and yung paper, yung positive end niya na attract dun sa comb, no? As indicated in this illustration. Yan, the comb attracting small pieces of paper with static electricity. And magandang demonstration to sa mga kids. No, sabihin nyo sa mga, utuin nyo yung mga pamangkin ninyo, no? Oh, gagawin kong magnet itong suklay. O, di ba? O, tas i-kiss-kiss nyo lang yung suklay sa buhok ninyo. O, to magnet. O, di ba? O, yan, here's another demonstration. Surrounding every charge is an electric field. Through the electric field, a charge is able to push or pull another charge. So yan, yung positive or negative charges, meron siyang tinatawag na electric field. Doon nararamdaman yung yung charges dun sa electric field. So kung unlike charges, edi mag-attract yung dalawa. Pag like charges, they will push each other. Repulsion naman yung tawag doon. Okay, everybody look at this. Ayan, no. Ito yung explanation kung bakit ang lightning is a form of static electricity. Okay, lighting is caused by the buildup and sudden discharge of static electricity within or between clouds. Ayan, no. So, part of the cloud, eto, nagiging, there is a buildup of positive charges. Yan, dito sa part ng cloud na ito. Alright? Then at the other end ng cloud, there is also a buildup of negative charges. Ayan, di ba? So, ang mga clouds, ganyan, no? May either negative or positive end. May positive end yung cloud, may negative end yung cloud. So, as you could see in this illustration, So at one end ng cloud, there's a buildup of positive charges, and at the opposite end, there is a buildup of negative charges. Okay, baka may magtanong, sir, di ba sabi nyo, the buildup of charges is by rubbing. Oo, kasi yung mga air molecules dito sa clouds, they rub against each other. So, nagkakaroon tuloy ng buildup ng charges. At one end, there is a buildup of positive charges, and at the opposite end, there is a buildup of negative charges. Usually, yung mga negative charges ay nasa base. Yung positive charges nasa taas. No, di ba? Alright guys, so ganun. And, di ba build up yan, so nag-accumulate yung charges. Pag masyado ng madami, it will create an electric discharge. Oh, di ba? So yung positive attracted sa negative. So pag nag-build up na yung charges guys, it will cause an electric discharge or spark. Ang tawag natin dyan ay lightning. Di ba? Okay guys, so pwedeng yung lightning between clouds, yung tinatawag natin na intercloud lightning. This is the discharge between the negative and the positive areas of two clouds. So nakikita nyo dito sa illustration yung positive attracted dito sa negative end ng isa pang cloud. So magkakaroon ng electrical discharge or lightning between the two clouds. Or pwede ring tinatawag na intracloud or cloud to ground. Yan o. Yung intra-cloud, ang ibig lang sabihin nito, may electrical discharge sa loob mismo ng ulap. No, like for example, ito, di ba? There is a buildup of negative and positive charges dito sa ulap na to. So pag masyado nang malaki yung buildup ng charge, pag-release yan ng sparks or lightning sa loob mismo ng cloud. Yun ang tinatawag natin na intra-cloud. Okay? Or pwede ring cloud to ground. Pag if there is a buildup of charges dun sa cloud and dun sa ground, yan, ang ground kasi positive eh. Yung nasa ulap negative. So pag masyado nang malaki yung charge buildup, there will be a release of electrical discharge or lighting between the cloud and the ground. Ito yung nakikita natin na kidlat. No? So, ayan guys. Yun yung that causes lightning. It's only a buildup of charges. And guys, hindi to biro kasi yung mga charges dito, malalaki, mga millions of volts ang pinag-uusapan natin dito. Millions of volts. Di ba? Kaya ang pag if you're struck by lightning, wala ka na. Makikita na kayo ni Lord. Di ba? Ayan. And delikado to guys sa bukid kasi walang mga high ground dito eh. Usually lightning hits yung mga matataas na objects. Kung nandito ka sa bukid, ikaw na yung pinakamataas na point. So ikaw yung tatamaan. Ayan, okay. Di ba kaya if you have noticed, yung mga namamatay, those who are struck by lightning, usually ang nasa bukid. Di ba? Usually nasa bukid yan. Ayan, so I hope everything is clear guys on how lightning works or what creates lightning. How does lightning occur? So first we have what we call charge separation. Okay, so usually during a thunderstorm, ice crystals, hail, and water droplets collide. Ito yung sinasabi ko kanina, sa ulap kasi, yung mga water molecules, they rub against each other, including yung mga ice crystals, ganyan. They rub against each other, causing a separation of electrical charges sa ulap. So there is a buildup of positive charges dun sa higher level ng clouds, and there is a buildup of negative charges dun sa base ng cloud. Alright? Sige. Then, accumulation of charges. So the upper part of the cloud tends to become positively charged. Ito yung sinasabi ko kanina, yung bandang taas nagiging positively charged while the lower part becomes negatively charged. So that's what we call charge accumulation. All right? Then as the charge separation increases, a strong electrical field develops between the oppositely charged region of the cloud and the ground. So ano ito, tatlo yan ha, pag yung pag-release ng electrical discharge, either intra, yung sa loob ng cloud, yan o, like ito, nakikita nyo sa ating illustration. So this is called intra lightning, no, cloud, yung sa loob ng cloud mismo, may discharge within the cloud, no, between the positive top and the negative base ng cloud. Or meron ding tinatawag na intercloud. This is the discharge between the negative and the positive areas of two clouds. So dalawang ulap na magkaiba yung charges. Pag masyado ng malaki yung build-up ng charges, yung cloud mag-release ng sparks or lightning. No? Yun tinatawag na intercloud. And lastly, we have cloud to ground, discharged between the negative base of the cloud and the positive ground below. Ayan. So attracted yung negative charges dun sa lupa kasi yung lupa, ano yan, positive yan eh. Oo. So magkakaroon tuloy ng kidlat. Ayan. When electrical field becomes strong enough, masyado nang malaki yung charge build-up, ayan, enough to overcome air resistance. Kasi ang air guys, insulator yan. Pero pag masyadong malakas ang charge, let's say 1,000,000 volts, pwedeng i-resist yun. No? The charges can overcome yung air resistance and a sudden discharge of electricity occurs, resulting in a lightning bolt. Like yung have you seen Back to the Future? Diba? Ano yung sinabi ni Doc Brown, Emmett Brown? Kailangan ng 1.1 gigawatts of electricity. So, sabi ni Doc Brown, how can I generate a 1.21 gigawatts of electricity? You need a bolt of lightning. Diba? Sabi niya. O, diba alam niya sa Back to the Future? How can we generate a 1.21 gigawatts of electricity? We need a bolt of lightning. Kasi mataas guys ang voltahe ng lightning. Kaya pag kayo'y tinamaan, kayo ay if you're struck by lightning, sunog, patay. O, diba? O, yun. Alright, so there guys. Mga millions of volts ang kailangan in order to overcome air resistance. No? Okay, pero yung 1.21 gigawatts, ewan ko lang kung totoo talaga yun. Alright, so there ha. Ang ibig lang sabihin ni Doc Brown ay talagang you need a tremendous amount of charge to overcome the air resistance. Kaya tingnan nyo yung lightning, di ba? Baku-bako. Hindi naman baku-bako. What's the correct term? Zigzag yung ng lightning. Kasi yung charges, yung electrical discharge is trying to overcome air resistance, kaya zigzag yan. Oo, di ba? Ganun, di ba? Yung thunder, iba naman yan. Ito, lightning. Tignan nyo yung lightning, di ba? Zigzag. Kasi nga yung charges is trying to overcome yung air resistance. Pag walang pag vacuum ito, ay parang yan, parang laser. Dire-diretso yan, guys. Alright? So, ganon. Or, ito pa, para makarelate kayo. Alam niyo yung Ghostbusters, di ba yung proton pack nila? Pag inactivate, di ba yung proton pack? Di ba? Hindi naman diretso yung proton beam, di ba? Medyo nagwe-wave, baku-baku siya. It's because yung proton wave is trying to resist or to overcome yung air resistance. Pero pag pag in-vacuum, dire-diretso yung proton beam. Okay guys, let's talk about the Van de Graaff generator. Ayan, ito guys, yung parang, this is a Van de Graaff generator. Yung Van de Graaff generator. Yan, it's a large silver ball. And yung Van de Graaff generator, ito yun guys. Ayan, anong ginagawa niya? It deposits electrons on the ball. So, ito yung ball yan, guys. Alright, when a person places their hand on the ball and the machine is turned on, the electrons are transferred to and it's collected on the person touching the silver ball. Okay, so ayan guys, ganito no. So, ito yung Van de Graaff generator. Meron siyang electric motor na may belt. No? So, ito yung tawag nito, ito yung belt drive. Tapos, ito may parang suklay dito. Itong comb na to is in contact with the belt. Tapos yung comb is connected to this metal sphere. Ito yung bola na metal ball. So when you turn on the machine, okay, when you turn on the machine guys, edi iikot yung belt. Yung belt is made of rubber. Rubber belt, parang conveyor belt ito. Yan, so iikot ngayon yan, habang umiikot yung rubber belt, it is rubbing against the comb, yung number 2. Yan, magkikiskisan yung dalawang yan, guys. Diba? So, yung mga negative charges, lilipat kasi ang metal sphere, positive yan eh. So, yung mga protons lilipat sa belt, yung electrons lilipat dun sa metal sphere. So, yung metal sphere now becomes negatively charged. Ayan, no? So, yung electrons are deposited on the ball. Ayan. Okay, guys? O, pag naglagay ka ng object dito, makakukuryente kayo. Like ito, ating demonstration, yung electrons lumipat from the rubber, yung sa metal ball dun sa person. When a person places their hand on the ball, and the machine is turned on, the electrons are transferred to and collected on the person touching the silver ball. So yung silver ball magiging positive, yung person na humawak dun sa metal ball magiging negatively charged. O diba? Then unlike charges, they attract. So ayan guys. O diba? So yun yung Van de Graaff generator. Okay? Alright, and lightning, ito, tingnan niyo yung itsura ng lightning, di ba? Ano siya, zigzag. Kasi yung lightning is trying to overcome yung air resistance. And the lightning is about 1 million or more volts. Or just like what Doc Emmett Brown mentioned in the movie Back to the Future. We need 1.21 gigawatts of electricity. We need a bolt of lightning. O, di ba? Okay guys, so there, huh? And what causes you to be shocked when you rub your feet across the carpet? As you walk across the carpeted floor, your body builds up a static charge. When you reach for a metal, ito yung pag bukas nyo ng pintuan, di ba, minsan nakukuryente kayo. Ayan, that's static electricity guys. Okay? And so an electrical discharge is the passing of an electric current through the air from a negative charged object to a positively charged object. This is what causes lightning. Okay, so there guys. So I hope clear tayo dito ha. Clear yung explanation about static electricity. All right. Let's first define before we move on to current electricity. Kasi dalawang electricity can be static or can be current electricity. Okay, so what is a conductor and insulator? So by definition, a conductor is any material which allows an electric current to pass. Yan, yung pwedeng dumaloy yung electrons dun sa material. Like metals, metals are good conductors of electricity. While an insulator is a material which does not allow an electric current to pass. Yung hindi pwedeng dumaloy yung electricity. Like non-metals. Non-metals are good insulators. Yan, like what? Like plastic, glass, wood, and rubber. They are good insulators. Alright guys, so alam na natin yan ha. Parang heat energy din, like, 'di ba, ang conductor allows heat energy to pass like metals. 'Di ba, metals are good conductors of heat. Metals are also good conductors of electricity. Ang insulator, ganun din. Insulators are materials that does not allow heat to pass. O ganun din sa electricity. Insulators, they do not allow electricity to pass. Like non-metals, yung mga plastics. Plastics are good insulators of heat and electricity. Glass, wood, rubber are good insulators of heat and electricity. Alright? Static electricity is used in a number of ways. Like the use of static electricity in dust removal in factories which does not allow dust to enter the atmosphere. Ayan. So sa mga pabrika, 'di ba, meron silang parang machine na tinatanggal yung mga yung mga alikabok, 'di ba, using static electricity. Yung kagaya ng if you are familiar with yung nabibili sa Lazada. Ano ba ito? Yan, ito yung electrostatic duster. Alam niyo ba to, guys? No? Ito yung parang microfiber siya. Pag kiniskis niyo yung microfiber, na nagkakaroon ng static charge yung duster para yung alikabok ma-attract dun sa duster niya. Yun dun sa yung electrostatic duster. Yan, magandang gamit ng static electricity para ma-attract, matanggal yung mga alikabok. So ginagawa yan sa mga factories na talagang kailangan dust-free yung loob. And yan, may mga products na electrostatic yung item para pag nirab mo yung duster na yan, mag-a-attract siya ng mga alikabok or dust. Yun, no? Okay, another use of static electricity is in sa mga photocopiers, sa mga Xerox machines, guys. Ayan, no? So ginagamitan din yan para ma-attract yung toner dun sa papel. O, yan yung gamit niyan, guys. O, ito. Yan. Alright, sa mga photocopying machines. O, paano ba principle niyan? Itong electric photocopiers, static electricity and photocopiers. Ayan, no? Ayan, guys, dito natin malalaman kung ano yung principle ng Xerox machine, yung photocopiers using static electricity. Alright? So, photocopiers utilize static electricity to create images by charging a drum. Kung nakita na yung loob ng Xerox machine or photocopying machine. Diba may drum sa loob? Ayan, charge yung drum na yan that attracts yung toner. Yung toner yung liquid, di ba? And transferring the image to the paper. Ayun. So, di ba? Galing, guys. So, the photocopying machine or the Xerox machine is an example of the use of static electricity in our everyday lives, di ba? So, yung mga photocopying machines na yan, so they make use of static electricity. And yung mga air fresheners, no, they use static electricity to produce the smell which smells like a fruit. Ayan, no, yung mga ang tinatawag yan na electrostatic precipitator. Yung humidifier, guys. Yan, no, para maano yung amoy, di ba? Nilalagyan natin yan ng parang mga scents. Okay? And ito din yung electrostatic spray painting. Ayan, di ba? Yan, electrostatic spray painting uses an electric charge to attract paint particles to a grounded object. So yung katawan ng kotse, grounded yan, positively charged. Yung sprayer, negatively charged yan. Okay? So pag in-spray nyo yan, yung negatively charged paint particles are attracted to the positively charged car body. Yun. So para kapit, no? Kapit na kapit yung pintura dun sa bakal. Yan ha guys, electrostatic spray painting uses an electric charge to attract paint particles to a grounded object, like yung car body, resulting in a more efficient, even and durable finish with less overspray. Yan, di ba? Yung kung mapapansin niyo yung sa Toyota, actually hindi na nga tao yung nag-i-spray, robot di ba? So isang ganun lang guys, so isang pasada lang ganda. Ang linis, pantay ang pintura. Kasi gumagamit sila ng electrostatic spray. Alright guys, so ayan Yan, ito yung mga everyday uses of static electricity in photocopiers, electrostatic spray painting. O, di ba? Di ba Mr. Hardiniano? Ayan, yung car body, grounded yan, positively charged. Yung pintura, china-charge yan, negatively charged. Para pag in-spray nyo yung pintura dun sa car body, yung negatively charged paint particles are attracted to the positively charged car body. So, kapit na kapit yung pintura. Okay ba, Miss Jewel? So, ayan guys, di ba? Ayan, ito yung electrostatic duster or feather duster. Rubbing the duster across a surface causes the duster to become charged by friction. Ito guys, so di ba? Ayan. So, itong duster na to is electrostatically charged para yung mga alikabok attracted dun sa duster na ito. Ayan na, di ba guys? So, there. Alright. So, that's static electricity. Okay, next. Let's move on now to current electricity. So, what is current electricity, guys? So, current electricity or electric current is the flow of electrons or electric charge through a conductor such as a wire or a circuit. Hindi kagaya sa static kasi ang static there is only a buildup of charges. Ang mga electrons, they do not move through a conductor. Kaya nga static Ang current electricity, ito yung flow of electrons through a conductor. So talagang gumagalaw, nagpo-flow yung electrons from negative to positive terminal. Okay, and the movement of electrons occur when there is an electric potential difference. No? So anong ibig sabihin yan? So may positive end do sa isang terminal at may negative end. May difference in charges. Yun ang ibig sabihin ng electrical potential difference if there is a difference in charges between 2 points. And this will create the movement of electrons. Okay, there are 2 types of current electricity. We have direct current. So alam na natin to guys in history. Who was the promoter of DC current? Si Thomas Edison. Thomas Edison promoted DC, di ba? So, yan. Ano ba yung DC or direct current? This is where the flow of electrons is constant and in one direction. Okay? From negative to positive lang and vice versa. And iikot lang yan sa circuit. The flow of electrons is constant and in one direction. And yung second type of electric current or current electricity is AC. AC is alternating current where the flow of electrons periodically reverses. Ayan. And sino nag-promote ng AC current in history? Si Nikola Tesla. He promoted AC current. Si Thomas Edison, DC. Kaya nga may in history, di ba, meron tayong tinatawag na current wars. Di ba? Kasi medyo may alitan si Edison and Tesla regarding AC-DC. Parang banda yun, di ba? AC-DC. Alright guys, so there, what's the difference between static and current electricity? Ayan, nabanggit ko na kanina yan. Static electricity is stationary. There's only a buildup of charges or collects on the surface of an object, yung mga charges, di ba? whereas current electricity is flowing, tandaan niya, flowing very rapidly through a conductor. Ayan ha guys, yun yung difference ng static and current electricity. Pag static electricity, kinokolekta lang yung mga charges dun sa object, or there's just a build-up of charges dun sa object. Diba? While ang current electricity, talaga nagfo-flow yung electrons through a conductor. Okay? Yan. The flow of electricity in current electricity has electrical pressure. Think of this as Maynilad. Ang mga electrons parang tubig yan. O, diba? So sa flow ng tubig sa Maynilad, paano ba nakakarating yung tubig sa atin? Diba may pressure? And that pressure is provided by a pump. Electrons flow through a conductor because there is electrical pressure. And this electrical pressure is what we call voltage. The battery itself is an electron pump. O, battery or yung dynamo or a generator. O, dalawang terms na yung nababanggit ko ha. Dalawang terms na yung isa, current. What is current? Current refers to the flow of electrons. Diba? Alright, then voltage. Ano bang voltage? Yun yung pressure that pushes the electrons through the conductor. O, diba? Yun yung pressure or voltage. What pushes the electrons? Edi yung battery or yung generator. Ayan, no? Electric charges flow from an area of high voltage to an area of low voltage. Ayan, ha? Ayan guys, isipin niyo parang tubig lang yan. Di ba? Parang tubig. Di ba? So, water flows from high pressure to low pressure. Ito yung tinatawag natin na pressure difference or water potential. Ayan. So, dito naman sa electricity, edi electrical potential ang tawag doon. So, electrons flow from high voltage to low voltage. Okay, guys? Ayan ha. Pag sinabing voltage, yun yung electrical pressure. Again, what is voltage, guys? So, pag sinabi nating voltage, this is the pressure from an electrical circuit's power source. O ano ba yung mga power sources? Edi either yung battery or yung dynamo, yung electric generator. And etong pressure na to pushes the electrons through a conducting wire, no, enabling them to do work. Ayan guys, kaya nga 'di ba ang electricity is a form of energy. Energy is the ability to do work. O 'di ba? Using electrons that flow through a conductor, you can light a bulb or you can turn on an electric fan so that it can do work. O yan, no, eto guys. So ito yung battery. The battery provides the pressure that pushes the electrons through the conducting circuit. Electrons flow from the negative terminal of the battery to the positive terminal. And this flow of electrons can do work like illuminating a light bulb. Okay guys, so there, ayan na. O, yung baterya, ayan, yun yung nagtutulak, yun na nagpo-provide ng pressure para matulak yung mga electrons from the negative terminal to the positive terminal. Ayan ha. Okay. Yung negative terminal, yun ang tinatawag na anode. Yung positive terminal, yun yung tinatawag na cathode. Okay. Ayan, negatively charged anions. Yung mga anions, yun yung positive. Yan, negative charge anions. Yan. Okay, yung positive charge, yung cations. Okay, guys? Alright, so yun yung flow. And this flow of electrons can do work. Okay? So again, guys, yung mga negatively charged electrons ay tawag ay anions. Okay, yung terminal niya, yung negative terminal is called an anode. Ang mga positively charged protons, yun yung mga cations. Yung terminal niya is a cathode. Alright? Yan, negatively charged anions. Alright? Yung cations, positively charged yun. Okay guys, so there, ha? Alright. Positively charged cations. Okay. Think of voltage like pressure in a water pipe. More voltage means more pressure, ha? Ayan, so compare 9 volts to 27 volts. Edi mas malakas yung pressure ng 27 volts as compared to 9 volts. More voltage means more pressure. More pressure means more electrons, more water can flow. Diba? Ayan, more voltage means more electrons can flow. So, compare mo yung 9 volts to 27 volts. So, syempre, mas maraming electrons ang nagfo-flow sa 27 volt circuit compared to a 9 volt circuit na less yung electrons na nagfo-flow. Diba? Yun yung sinabi natin, the more voltage means more electrons can flow. So, yun na. Guys, tandaan nyo yung mga concepts na yan. Naku, magagamit ito sa bahay ninyo. Maniwala kayo. Alright? Now, there is some similarity or similarities between the flow of water in a pipe and the flow of electric current to a circuit. O, di ba yun ang sinasabi ko kanina? Yung pump, di ba, the pump sa water provides the pressure para mag-circulate yung tubig. Di ba, guys? O, yung pump na yan, parang baterya yan. So, yung battery provides the pressure to push electrons from the negative terminal to the positive terminal. O, balik tayo sa tubig. Yung flow ng water na to can be used to turn a turbine, di ba? Ayan. So, it's the same. Yung flow of electrons dito sa circuit can be used to light a bulb or to activate a motor. Ganun. So, itong flow of electricity can do work. Yun. Alright? Okay, guys. So, halos pareho yung tubig sa yung electrons. Ayan. The pressure of the water flowing through pipes on the last slide, ito yung slide na pinakita ko kanina, compared to the voltage or electric potential flowing through the wires of the circuit. The unit used to measure voltage is volts. Ayan ha guys, tandaan nyo ha. O, ano yung unit to measure voltage? Di volts. Yung flow of electrons, yung electric current, ano yung unit? Di amps. Diba? Amperes or amps. Letter A. Pag V, volts. Okay guys. So, ayan ha. Yan. The flow of charges in a circuit is called the current. Yan, di ba nabanggit na natin kanina? The flow of electrons through a conductor is called current. And current is measured in amperes. So, tandaan nyo yung mga, ano na yan, yung mga measurements na yan. Okay? Current, again, is the rate at which electrons flow through a conductor or through a circuit. Yan, di ba? Yung flow of electrons, yun yung current. And this is measured in amperes. Ampere or amp. This is the international unit used for measuring current. It expresses the quantity of electrons. Quantity, meaning yung dami ng electrons, sometimes called an electric charge, flowing past a point in a circuit over a given time. Okay? So, ayan guys. So, yung flow of electrons. Okay, so from the negative terminal, electrons will flow there papunta sa positive terminal. Yan, di ba? So, yun yung current and this is measured in amps. Okay? So, guys, ganito. Ito yung, ano ba ang relationship between voltage, and current? Isipin na lang natin to sa tubig ha, yung flow ng water. Siyempre, pag maliit yung tubo or narrow yung makipot yung tubo, 'di ba? Ibig sabihin nun, konti lang yung tubig yung pwedeng dumaan doon. Pag malaki yung tubo, malaki yung diameter, edi mas maraming tubig yung pwedeng mag-flow. 'Di ba? So, i-connect natin ngayon 'to sa volts and current. So, yung makipot na na tubo, gawin natin 'tong wire. Yung tubig, electrons. So, pag medyo maliit, manipis yung wire, 'di ba? So, that means mas kokonti yung electrons yung nagfo-flow diyan. So, mababa yung amperage niya, yung amperes. Compared to a wire na medyo makapal. Yung copper wire niya talagang makapal. So, mas marami yung electrons na nagfo-flow dyan. So, that means mas mataas yung amperage niya, yung amperes. Di ba? Ayan ha guys ha. So, tandaan nyo yan ha. Ayan. And ano ba yung instrument na ginagamit to measure amperes? So, there's an instrument called an ammeter. Now, an ammeter is an instrument used to measure the current in a circuit. Electric currents are measured in amperes, no, capital A, hence the name. For direct measurement, the ammeter is connected in series with the circuit in which the current is to be measured. I will talk about later yung series na yan and parallel circuits. So here is an example of an ammeter. Yan, an ammeter is used to measure current. Then yung voltage naman, we use a voltmeter. No, a voltmeter is a device used to measure yung voltage or potential difference or pressure, di ba? Pressure between 2 points in an electrical circuit. Yan, typically expressed in volts. Ito yung voltmeter. Okay? Yan, may V. Pag may letter capital V, that's a voltmeter. Ito naman, this is an ammeter. Yan, A, capital A for ammeter, amps. Okay guys, so ayan ha. Mamaya i-establish natin later yung relationship between volts, current, yan ha. Ayan. So, eto tandaan nyo to ha guys. Siyempre, pag mas malaki yung conductor, mas malapad yung conductor, that means more electrons can flow. So, mas mataas yung amps niya. Okay, then pag makipot yung conductor, ayan, edi mas kokonti yung electrons na magfo-flow dyan. So, mas less yung amperes. Diba? Ayan, natandaan nyo guys yung mga basic concepts na yan. And di ba sinabi ko kanina that si Edison promoted DC, di ba? While si Tesla promoted AC. So nagkaroon sila ng alitan and this conflict between Tesla and Edison is what we call the current war. Yung rivalry between Edison and Nikola Tesla. Yan. During their bitter dispute dubbed the War of the Currents, Edison championed the direct current system. Siya yung promotor ng direct current or DC, in which electrical current flows steadily in one direction. While Nikola Tesla and Westinghouse, si George Westinghouse, they promoted AC current in which the current flows constantly alternates. Yung nagre-reverse yung flow of electrons. Okay? Ayan. So, Edison developed direct current that runs continually in a single direction like in a battery. So, yung mga baterya, ano yan? DC current yan, guys. Yung baterya ng ng EV. Ayan. Ano yan? DC yan, guys. Or in a fuel cell sa spaceship. Okay, DC yan. Alright. During the early years of electricity, direct current, shorthanded as DC, was the standard in the US. Kasi nga si Edison siya nagpo-promote yan eh. Diba? But there was one problem. Direct current is not easily converted to higher or lower voltages. Ayan. So medyo mahirap i-convert. Kunyari, ang voltage ay 9 volts. Mahirap siya i-convert to 45 volts, halimbawa, pag DC. Okay? Alright, Edison, not wanting to lose the royalties he was earning from his direct current patents, began a campaign to discredit alternating current. Kasi nga medyo nakikita na ng mga tao yung advantages ng AC. So, ayaw ni Edison magpatalo. Yun lang yun, guys. Si Edison, ano siya, nagkakalat siya ng mga fake news. He spread misinformation saying that alternating current was more dangerous daw. Even going so far as to publicly electrocute stray animals using alternating currents to prove his point. I think kinoryente niya ata yung elepante eh. Oo. Using AC para ano lang, para ipakita sa publiko na ang AC ay delikado. So, kinoryente I think yung elepante, guys. Oo. Grabe to si Edison. Oh, napaka-fake news talaga nito. To using alternating current to prove his point. Yun. Di ba yung elepante, makapal yung balat? Kahit makapal ang balat ng elepante na matay kuryente. Di ba? Talagang to si Edison talaga. Minsan loko-loko din to eh. Ayan, so to continue guys. The Chicago World's Fair, also known as the World's Columbian Exposition, took place in 1893 at the height of the War of the Currents. General Electric bid to electrify the fair using Edison's direct current for $554,000. Yun yung bid, but natalo siya. Natalo siya nila Tesla at Westinghouse, who said that he could power the fair for only $399,000 using Tesla's alternating current. So, natalo si Edison sa bidding. Ito yung lowest bid yung kay Westinghouse and Tesla. $399,000 lang kay Edison mahal $554. So nanalo si Tesla saka George Westinghouse sa bidding. Sila yung nag-electrify ng Chicago World's Fair. Ang DC, yung flow of electrons is in one direction. Kagaya nito, itong battery na to. Ayan guys. So yung flow of electrons is from negative to positive terminal. One way lang yung flow ng electrons sa DC. Yung mga battery guys, yung battery ng mga e-bike ninyo, yung mga electric vehicles uses the same principle. DC sila, direct current, wherein electrons flow in one direction. Ayan, DC is a type of electric current that flows steadily in one direction. Unlike alternating current or AC, in which may reversal of direction. The charge's direction periodically changes. Changes direction periodically. Nagbabago yung direction ng charges. May reversal, may reversal of the direction of charges. Okay? Ayan, while direct current maintains its flow in a single direction. So saan ba ginagamit ang DC anyway? DC is commonly used in electronic devices like batteries, cells, yung mga power banks, yung mga yung mga ginagamitan ng baterya. Yan, yung flashlight, cellphone, yan yung baterya ng cellphone uses DC. Yan. Ano bang advantage or advantages ng DC? Kasi ang DC can be controlled easily and it is used in a wide range of applications from consumer electronics and transportation. Di ba yan? Sa mga e-vehicles, mga EVs, providing a reliable and stable source of electricity. Yun yung pinopromote ni Edison. Mas safer daw. Saka maraming gamit. Yun, di ba? Alright. So, yun yung DC. Ayan. So, batteries are good sources of DC current. Yung mga baterya. Ayan. Batteries are composed. Ano ba? Saan magawa ang baterya anyway? Ang baterya may mga chemicals sa loob, di ba? May mga chemical substances dyan that can generate voltage. Which can be used in a circuit. There are two types of batteries, guys. We have the dry cell and wet cell batteries. Ayan. So, here is an example of a dry cell. So, alam nyo na to guys, yung mga energizer na ganito, yung mga ever-ready na ganito, na, di ba, iba-ibang sizes yan. Yung mga baterya na nilalagay nyo sa flashlight, yung mga baterya na nilalagay ninyo sa mga toys, 'di ba? Yung mga triple A, yung mga double A. Okay, ang dry cell contains a zinc container. Yung container niya is made of zinc. Okay, and inside that zinc container, may mga chemicals and sa gitna may carbon rod. Okay, yung carbon rod sa gitna. Then may mga chemical dito, yung moist paste. Okay? Ngayon. And a dry cell battery, like a common AA or AAA battery, works by converting chemical energy into electrical energy through a redox reaction, no, between the zinc container. Yung zinc container, ito yung negative terminal, yung anode. And yung carbon rod sa gitna, ito yung cathode or yung positive terminal. No, within a phase electrolyte. So dito nagkakaroon ng chemical reaction. O yung chemical reaction is known as redox, no, or reduction oxidation. Yan, dry cell batteries offer advantages like portability. Obvious naman guys, 'di ba? Portable siya. Pwede niyo nga ilagay sa bulsa niyo like yung ginagawa ko, 'di ba? O yung baterya, nasa bulsa ko lang, ilalagay ko lang sa microphone. Portability due to their small size. O yung cellphone nyo na lang, di ba, battery operated. O di ba, and lightweight in nature. Ease of use and low maintenance requirement. Kasi pag ubos, pwede nyo nang itapon. O di ba? Yan, making them suitable for various applications. Ayan, di ba? Kaya lang guys, ang isang disadvantage ng dry cell, may ano to may lifespan. 'Di ba? Pag naubos na yung charge, di wala na, itatapon nyo na. So, yun din yung issue sa mga e-vehicles. What if naubos na yung lifespan ng mga baterya ng e-vehicles? O, di ba? Tatapon nyo na lang. And ang baterya, guys, mahal. O, kasi yung chemical sa loob, ano yan, mga rare earth elements yan na mahal. O, like lithium. Lithium is a rare earth element. O, di ba yung mga baterya natin ngayon, mga lithium ion kaya mahal. Mahal ang mga baterya ng e-vehicles. O, di ba? Kaya ang tanong dyan, is it worth it na magkaroon kayo ng e-vehicle? Ayan, so there. Ayun yung dry cell. What about a wet cell? Wet cell batteries are most commonly associated with automobile batteries. Yung mga baterya ng kotse. Yan, wet cell yun, guys. May asido yan sa loob. Ayan, di ba? A wet cell contains two connected plates of different metals. So, again, may lead, lead oxide, saka may mga partitions yan between the lead oxide plates. Alright? Ayan, or metal compounds in conducting solution. Yung conducting solution nito ay asido, sulfuric acid. Yan, most car batteries have a series of 6 cells, each containing lead and lead oxide. Yan yung dalawang magkaibang metals, lead and lead oxide, in a sulfuric acid solution. What? Oh, may acid guys sa loob. Oh, yun yung kaya nga tinawag siyang wet cell. Yan, car batteries predominantly use wet cells because they offer high power output. O malakas ang amperage ng ng wet cell. Meaning malakas yung amperes niya. Yan, high power out. Kahit na let's say ang car battery ay 12 volts lang. Malakas yung kuryente niyan. Kasi mataas yung amperes ng wet cell. With the same voltage, kunyari may dry cell ka na 12 volts. At may wet cell ka na 12 volts. Mas malakas ang output ng wet cell. Kaya ginagamit ito sa mga car battery, sa mga kotse. Kasi ang kotse, ano ba yung mga electrical components ng kotse? Yung starter, yung ilaw, yung radyo, o yung alarm, o 'di ba? Yung aircon, isa pa 'yan. O 'di ba? So, ang daming electrical requirements ang kotse. So, dapat mataas ang power output ng baterya ng kotse. Kaya wet cell yung ginagamit nila, guys. No? Alright? Ayan, no? Making them suitable for the demanding requirements of vehicle starting and power. Yung starter na lang guys, malakas makonsumo yan ng kuryente. Yung pag ganun yun ng susi. Pag ganun yun ng starter, ang lakas na kumonsumo yan ng baterya. Kaya nga charge yan, merong tinatawag na alternator yung kotse. Yung alternator will charge the wet cell battery. O, di ba? Alright guys, so there. Alright. O, yan. Okay, what about alternating current? Ang AC or alternating current involves electrons flowing in one direction, then babalik sa opposite direction. So, nagre-reverse yung direction ng electrons. So, in an alternating current, electrons in the circuit are moved first in one direction and then in the opposite direction. So, yun ha, yun yung AC. Ayan ha. Alternating current which actually pulses or reverses direction. Yan, 120 times or 60 cycles per second. Yan, AC power moves in waves. Yan, light bulbs actually flicker as power ebbs and flows but we cannot see them because mabilis. Hindi ma-detect ng human eye yung flickering ng light bulb. Pero nagpi-flicker siya because of AC current. And bakit ba very popular ang AC? Ba't ginagamit ngayon yung AC unlike DC? Alternating current is most used because electrical energy from in the form of AC can be transmitted through great distances. No, unlike yung DC. Kaya ang DC very popular yan sa mga gadgets, sa mga EV. Pero yung powering our homes, AC na. Kasi yung generator, yung power plant, malayo. So, dapat yung electricity must be transmitted from the power plant sa mga bahay natin. So, ang talagang dyan is AC because AC can be transmitted through great distances. Ayan. So, yung electricity, manggagaling pa yan sa power plant, di ba? Ayan, then i-step up yan, meaning it will increase the voltage para matransmit sa ating mga bahay. So, yun yung reason kaya very popular ang AC ngayon. Okay? So, may mga advantages din ang DC. So, pareho lang. Wala namang battle, wala namang wala namang gera or war between AC and DC. Kasi may mga advantages and disadvantages. Saka may mga gamit. Ang AC, ginagamit yan for power transmission sa mga bahay natin. Ang DC, ginagamit sa mga gadgets natin and electric vehicles. Ayan na. Alternating current is preferred over DC for power transmission, no, and distribution primarily because it's easier and more efficient to transform AC voltage using transformers. Ayan, di ba si Nikola Tesla rin ang nag-imbento ng mga transformers, allowing for efficient long-distance transmission with minimal energy loss. Okay. So we were talking about AC current, guys, di ba? And the reason why AC current became more popular than DC because AC current can be transmitted through great distances. But DC also has its own place in history because DC current is used in our gadgets. Yan, in the use of batteries, diba? Batteries employ the use of DC current. So yung mga portable gadgets natin, like yung mga cellphone, laptops, yan, they employ the use of DC. Yan, yung mga gumagamit ng mga AAA, AA batteries, yung car battery natin also uses DC. And yung mga EV, electric vehicles that uses batteries also employ DC current. Ang AC naman predominantly sa sa bahay because AC can be transmitted through great distances. Okay guys? Alright, so let's continue now. Ano ba ang differences between electricity that is 110 volts compared to a household na may 220 volts. 110 versus 220. So we know kasi ang ano natin dito sa Pilipinas, 'di ba, ang voltage natin sa mga bahay natin ay 220. Pero in some countries ay 110 like Japan. 'Di ba? Japan ay 110 eh. Kaya pag bumibili ako sa mga Japan surplus shops, yung mga electrical gadgets, kailangan ko pa ng transformer, a step-up transformer. Kasi yung mga gadgets sa Japan, 110 eh. So pag gagamitin mo dito sa Pilipinas, you have to step up the voltage to 220. So bakit ba yung mga ibang bansa ay 110, tayo ay 220? Okay, tingnan natin to guys. So a 110 volt wiring produces power to operate electrical outlets. Okay? When it is used, more current is involved but less voltage. Ayan ha. So tandaan nyo yan guys ha. So more current is involved but less voltage or pressure from an electrical circuit. Okay, so ulitin ko ha, yung 110, 'di ba? 110 less yung voltage niya. Pero yung current guys, yung amperage, yung amperes, medyo malaki. No more current is involved but less voltage or pressure from an electrical circuit. Okay, this is why a 110 volt level, the wire conductor is thick. Ayan ha guys. To be able to process the heat versus a 220 volt tin wiring. Right? So for instance, some 110 devices with an amperage limit of 20 amps must have a 12 gauge wire. No? Ibig sabihin ng 12 gauge, medyo makapal yan guys yung 12 gauge. Kasi 20 amps, ano yan mataas yung amperage niyan. Considering na maliit lang yung voltahe, 110. Alright? On the flip side, voltage isn't a consideration for choosing the size, but it defines the wire's insulation. Okay? So, ito yung story niyan, guys. Alright? Ang 110 volts, ano yan? Kumbaga yan sa pressure, mahina. No, mahina ang pressure. Ngayon, kung mahina ang pressure, dapat maraming tubig ang pumasok dun sa appliance. Kumbaga yan sa kunyari, to give you an idea, kunyari ay washing machine. Di ba washing machine, halimbawa. Kung maliit yung tubo ng tubig papuntang washing machine. Hindi yung tubo. Kunyari mahina yung pressure, yun kunyari mahina yung pressure ng tubig papunta sa washing machine. Di ba mahina yung tubig na tutulo, magpatak yung tulo ng tubig sa washing machine, di ba? Kasi mahina yung pressure. Di ba guys, nagigets niyo ako, no? Mahina yung pressure, so mahina yung tubig na dadaloy dun sa washing machine. Ngayon, to compensate on this, lakihan nyo yung tubo. No? So, pag mas malaki yung tubo, edi mas maraming tubig ang makakapasok sa washing machine. Do you get the analogy, guys? So, kunyari, yung washing machine, di ba? Let's say may pressure. Kunyari mahina yung pressure. So, kukonti lang yung tubig ang makakapasok. Diba? Ngayon, same pressure, kung gusto nyong madaming tubig ang pumasok sa washing machine with the same pressure na mahina, edi lakihan nyo yung tubo. Pag mas malaki yung tubo, mas maraming tubig yung makaka-flow. Pag mas maraming tubig yung makaka-flow, edi mas maraming tubig ang makakapasok sa washing machine. It's the same with this. Diba? Ang 110, mahina yan. Mahina yung pressure, mahina yung voltahe. No, pero dapat yung wire makapal, 'di ba? Dapat yung wire makapal. Nagets nyo guys, para mas maraming current yung papasok. Pag mas maraming current, edi mapapower yung electrical appliance. Yun yung ibig sabihin nun. Okay? Kaya ang 110, mababa nga yung voltage, pero yung amperes niya mataas. Ayan ha. So, kailangan dito mga 12 gauge na wiring. O, di ba? So, yun ang sa 110. Ngayon yung sa, sa 220 ito. Similarly to 100 or 110 volt, 220 volt wiring. O, ito ha guys, makinig kayo dito ha. 220 volt wiring generates power to receptacles, though less current in the circuit but more voltage is required. Ayan ha guys, ito yung istorya sa 220. Mababa ang amperes pero mataas yung voltahe. Diba? For this reason, with a 220 volt level, the wire conductor is thinner because less current circulates in the wires. So, hindi kailangan na malaki o makapal yung wiring kasi mataas naman yung pressure or yung voltahe. So, pwede niyang itulak yung mga electrons dun sa appliance. Okay? Kasi mataas yung pressure or yung voltage. So, hindi niya kailangan ng makapal na wiring. Wire conductor is thinner because less current circulates in the wires. So, less current meaning mababa yung amperes pero mataas yung voltage. Yan. So, for example, 220 volt appliance such as window air conditioners or built-in ovens with an amperage limit of 30 amps must have a 10 gauge wire. So, ayan guys. So, medyo mababa yung yung gauge ng wire, manipis. Ayan ha. Yun yung mga requirements sa 220. Okay? Ayan ha guys, so kung mapapansin ninyo sa mga bahay, sa mga household na 110, mababa nga yung voltahe pero makakapal yung wiring nila. Sa 220 na kagaya natin dito sa Pilipinas, mataas yung voltahe pero mababa yung amperes. So hindi ganun kakapalan yung mga wire. Ayan ha. Okay. So ano ngayon ang benefits ng 110? Bakit ba ang mga ibang countries ay 110 volts yung kanilang household? Okay, one is safety. Okay, 110 volts generally considered safer because of the lower voltage and reduces the risk of electric shock. O nga naman, di ba? So, pag mas mababa ang voltahe, di kahit na makuryente ka siguro, you can still live another day, di ba? Diba? Mababa yung voltahe, you can tolerate yung 110 volt electric shock. So, mas safer siya, no? Compared to 220. 220 guys, no? Hawakan mo lang yung outlet ng bahay ninyo. I don't know kung makikita niyo pa yung kinabukasan ninyo, baka iba na yung makita niyo na si Lord. Pag hinawakan niyo yung 220 na outlet niyo sa bahay, di ba? Marami kayo nakukuryente diyan, di ba, na mamamatay. So medyo yung safety aspect ng 220 questionable. No, hindi kagaya ng 110. Ang 110 medyo safer siya kasi the lower voltage reduces the risk of electric shock. Okay? All right. Common residential setting is another advantage or benefit. 110 volt circuits are common in homes for powering smaller appliances and electronics. Di ba? Kunyari, TV. Siguro naman, kaya na ng 110 yun. No? Or radio. Di ba? Or yung washing machine ninyo. Actually, pwede na yung 110 eh. And simpler yung wiring. 110 circuits are simpler to install and maintain. Pero ang ano neto, makapal dapat yung wiring kasi mataas yung amperes. Okay? What about 220? So bakit tayo 220? Efficiency is one benefit. 220 circuits require less current to deliver the same amount of power, meaning less power is lost as heat in the wires. Oh, okay. So, manipis yung wire pero hindi siya umiinit, no? Kaya kasi mataas yung pressure, yung voltahe. Ayan, no? Less current to deliver. Parang ano ito, guys, yung manipis, yung maliit yung tubo, pero mataas yung pressure. No? So, 220, mataas yung voltahe, yung pressure, pero manipis yung wire. Ayan, no? Okay. Ayan, thinner wiring. For the same power, 220 volts allow for the use of thinner and cheaper wires because less current is required. And suitable for high power appliances. So 220 circuits are better suited for powering high power appliances like electric dryers, ovens, air conditioners that require more power. Oh, diba no? Okay, ito. The two main electricity voltages used worldwide lie in the 110 or 120 volt range and the 220 to 230 volt range. Europe and Africa predominantly uses the 220 to 240 volt range. And Europe, UK, yan sa UK, 220, di ba? Whereas North America, parts of South America and Japan, sagot sa kahirapan, uses voltage in the 110 to 120 volt. In North America, US, Japan actually uses 100 volts. What? Ang tanong, bakit? Diba? Bakit? Bakit ba may mga bansa na gano'n na 110, may mga bansa na 220? Baka pareho pala natin ang UK, ha? Saka yung mga European countries. Saka Africa. Oo, pero ang mga Amerikano, yung mga kano, no? Lalo na yung mga kana, saka yung mga Hapon, 110. Bakit kaya? Alright, so, eto yun. May kinalaman ng history. Okay, tingnan natin to guys. Thomas Edison and Nikola Tesla were the first two pioneers of electricity. Ayan ha. Each pioneer invented and thus favored and used a different variation. While Edison preferred the 110 volt DC current, Nikola Tesla preferred his 240 AC. Oy, yeah. Kaya pala. So yung 110 kay Edison, yung 220, 240 kay Tesla. And this field resulted in two standard electricity transmission voltages across the world. Ay, Diyos ko Lord. Kaya pala yung alitan nilang dalawa, ito yung nag-result ng, kaya yung ibang bansa 110, yung iba 240. What? Oh, no? Ayan, tuloy natin guys ang kwento. While the Edison 110 volt DC was eventually proved to be ineffective during long transmission due to heavy power loss, it was still adopted as the standard for US electricity transmission and use. Siyempre, pride nila yan Edison, Amerikano yan Diba? Amerikano yan While Tesla's 240 volt AC was thought to be dangerous, diba? And unsafe, diba? Nakakamatay nga pag nakuryente kayo was thought to be dangerous and unsafe for homes due to a fervent and controversy-fueled PR campaign against it by Thomas. Diba si Thomas Edison, sinisirahan nga si Tesla, diba? Diba si Edison, kinuryente pa nga niya yung elepante. Elepante, biruin nyo yun. Napaka, malaking paninira. no, ni Edison kay Tesla. Kaya sinasabi ni Edison, "Oy, wag kayo mag-AC." Oo, kasi nakakamatay. Kung yung elepante nga mamamatay, kayo pa, o di ba? O di ba? Ganun, guys. Okay, so tuloy natin ang kwento. Over time, however, due to its efficiency in long distance transmission, 'di ba kababanggit lang natin 'yan, 'di ba? Ang AC kasi ano 'yan, efficient pag long distance transmission. Europe adopted Tesla's 240 AC as the standard. 'Yon. Then during the age of colonialism, colonies of European countries tended to adopt the power standards of their colonizers, which explains why some countries up to now uses the 240 volt standard and outlets plug while others use the 110 standard. Okay guys, Europe originally used the 120 volts but over time the need for more power and less voltage over distance necessitated the switch to 240. Oh, yun. Kasi kailangan nila yung mas efficient yung power transmission. So they shifted to 240 volts. Oo, no? Alright, and eventually its adoption as the prevailing standard due to its relative efficiency. Oh, kaya siguro yun din ang iniisip natin, yung efficiency. Okay guys. Okay, let's talk about now electrical resistance. Ano ba tong electrical resistance na to or R? So tatlo na ba guys? Tatlo na yung binibigay ko sa inyo ha. V, voltage, yung pressure. A, amperes, yung flow ng electrons sa conductor. And ito, R, resistance. So, ano itong resistance? This is the opposition to the flow of an electric current causing the electrical energy to be converted into heat, no, thermal energy or light. Okay? Parang ito, guys, parang ganito. 'Di ba ang isipin ulit natin ang tubig. 'Di ba ang tubig dumadaan sa tubo? As the water flows dun sa tubo, it encounters friction, no, between the water molecules and yung tube, yung inner lining ng tubo. Yun ang resistance. Okay, guys? Yun yung resistance. So it's the same with electricity. As the electrons flow through the conductor, may konting resistance na na-encounter yung mga electrons. Now, yung resistance na yan, depende dun sa type of conductor. Usually, yung copper, mababa yung resistance ng copper. Pero pag kunyari, rubber or plastic or some other, kaya like for example, tungsten. So, mataas ang resistance niyan. So, may friction. There is friction between the electrons and dun sa conductor. Pag may friction, ano nangyayari? May heat. If there's friction, there's heat. Kaya umiinit yung wire. Oo. No? Pag mataas ang resistance, iinit yung wire o it will be converted into light. So, yun ang ibig sabihin ng resistance, yung opposition to the flow of electrons. Yan. Like for example, ito yung sa light bulb. Yung filament ng light bulb is made of tungsten. Ayan. So as the electrons move through the tungsten filament, may resistance yung electrons dun sa metal. No, yung mga electrons, they bump into the metal atoms. And due to the collisions, the metal heats up and starts to glow. So mataas yung resistance, kaya umiinit yan. And yung heat is also converted into light. Okay? And the metal which makes up a light bulb filament or stovetop ay nasa high electrical resistance. This causes the light and heat to be given off. So, can you think of other appliances na medyo mataas yung resistance niya? Anyone guys? Yung plancha, yung flat iron, di ba? Yeah, yan. Medyo mataas yung resistance niyan. Okay? Ano pa, yung mga incandescent bulb, yung mga ganito, hindi yung LED iba yung LED. Mataas yung resistance pag ganito. And pag mataas ang resistance sa isang appliance, that means kung may friction, you need to have more voltage. So you need more pressure. So nahihirapan yung pump, nahihirapan yung baterya na itulak yung electrons pag malaki ang resistance. The result is heat. And pag ganyan, tumataas ang kuryente natin. Kaya minsan pag madalas tayong gumamit ng plancha or madalas tayong gumamit ng electric stove, tumataas ang ating electric bill. Kaya 'di ba, do you want to save electricity? Dapat yung pagpaplantsa once a week lang, guys. Oo. Saka yung mga electric stove, dapat hindi nyo na mag-iba kayo. Pwedeng microwave oven na lang, mas matipid pa yun. Huwag na yung electric stove kasi masyadong magastos sa kuryente. You can also use yung induction cooker. Ang induction cooker mas matipid kaysa sa electric stove. Oo, baka magtanong, di ba yung induction cooker, electric stove? Hindi Yung niya, may parang coil. Yung pinagpapatungan ng mga utensils, diba, coiled yun. Tapos pag inon yun, mag-go-glow yan. Yun yung electric stove. Magastos yun, guys, sa electricity. Oo. Okay? So, yun yung electrical resistance. Alright? Ito yung symbol to represent resistance. Ayan, parang zigzag na ito. Yun yung symbol niya. Na with the capital letter R. Ayan So ibig sabihin pagdaan dito ng electrons, nahihirapan sila kasi may friction, no? May resistance nga, resistance, may friction. All right? So there yun yung electrical resistance. The unit for measuring resistance is ohms. Ayan. Narinig nyo ito, di ba? Ohms. Ito yung symbol, yung omega. Ohms. All right? Ayan. So, pag-usapan natin yung wiring naman and its resistance. Ito, the resistance of a short, thick piece of wire, a short piece of wire is less than the resistance of a long, thin piece of wire. Ayan, no? Bakit kaya? The resistance of a short, thick piece of wire is less than the resistance of a long, thin piece of wire. Okay, kung mapapansin nyo dito, guys, sa makapal na wire, electrons can flow freely and minimal yung bumping dun sa side dun sa conductor. So, mababa yung resistance. No? Unlike a short, yung manipis na wire, thin piece of wire, na yung mga electrons nagsisiksikan dito, So, iinit yan. Mataas yung resistance niyan. Pag mataas ang resistance, iinit yan. Kasi yung demand for electrons, na kunyari, manipis yung wire mo, tapos 4 na appliances yung nakakabit dyan, guys. Diba yung demand for electricity mataas, pero ang nipis ng wire. O anong result nun? Edi more electrons will flow sa manipis na wire. That means there's more friction, more resistance. Iinit yung wire. Masusunog ang bahay ninyo, guys. Oo. Kaya tingnan niyo yung mga yung mga extension cord na modern. Di ba ang kakapal ng wiring yan? No? Saka we discourage yung octopus connection sa extension cord kasi iinit talaga yan, guys. Okay, what influences electrical resistance? Yung wire mismo, kung saan gawa yung wire. Yan, like kung copper ang wire mo, mababa yung resistance, hindi yan iinit, or aluminum. Maganda yan, guys, kasi copper and aluminum are good conductors of electricity na mababa yung resistance. Okay? So yan, yun yung material. Also thickness. Pag iba yung wire nyo, iba yung material, baka uminit yan. Di ba? Okay, another factor that influences resistance is thickness. The thicker the wire, the lower is the resistance. Yun guys, kaya tignan niyo yung ano sa US, ang kakapal ng wire pero mababa yung voltahe. Para mababa yung ano yung tawag nito, yung risk of the wires heating up. At dito sa Pilipinas, tignan nyo, ang nipis na nga ng wire, mataas pang voltahe. Tapos yung mga ibang kababayan natin, either they do octopus connection, or yung mga nagja-jumper. Alam mo ba yun, Miss Katahan, yung mga jumper, yung mga nagnanakaw ng kuryente, diba?
Yes, sir.
Oh, yun.
Siya
Yung
po.
Oo. So, iinit talaga yung wire dyan, guys. Tapos yung madalas na paggamit ng ano ng extension cord. Oh, tapos iba-ibang ano pa kapal yung extension cord. Talagang iinit yung wire niyo diyan. Oh, di ba? Kaya yun yung principle that the thicker the wire, the lower is the resistance. Kaya tingnan niyo yung mga extension cord na binibili niyo pag manipis yung wire, wag niyong bilhin yan. Naku, masusunog ang bahay niyo. Mas maganda yung extension cord na makapal yung wiring. Okay, another factor is yung length. Siyempre, pag maiksi yung wire, di mas mababa yung resistance. O pag mahaba yung wire, mataas ang resistance. Kaya dapat mas mataas ang voltahe para maitulak yung electrons sa mahabang wire. O, di ba? Kasi yung haba ng wire has greater electrical resistance. Kaya nga si Tesla, ang ginamit niya is AC eh. Kasi mataas ang voltahe para maitulak yung mga electrons over long distances. Alright? And temperature, the lower the temperature, the lower is the resistance. Ayan, di ba? Kaya dapat yung mga appliances nasa malamig or well ventilated like yung mga PC ninyo, di ba? Ang mga PC may maraming fans para pag mas mababa yung temperature, hindi masyadong iinit yung mga wires. Okay guys, so ayan ha. Length, the longer the material, the longer the wire, the greater is the resistance. O tignan nyo to. Ang length niya ay, ito itong isa. 1 ohm lang. Oh. Ito, dumoble mo yung length o dumoble yung resistance to 2 ohms. Okay? Ito, thickness ng wire. O, syempre pag mas makapal yung wire, mas mababa yung resistance. Oh, ito look at A. Oh, 2 ohms. Itong isa, ang kapal ng wire, 1 ohm lang. Oh. Di ba? So, the thicker the wire, the less is the resistance. Ayan, temperature, the higher temperatures, mataas ang resistance. Pag malamig, mababa yung resistance. And the kind of material, yan, iron, copper, aluminum, they offer less less resistance. Yan, okay. Iron has more electrical resistance than copper. Kaya ang iron hindi masyadong ginagamit eh. Oo. Unlike, hindi masyadong ginagamit sa wiring ang iron. Ang talaga copper. Oh, di ba? Copper, minimina yan eh. Mahal ang copper, guys. Okay, tignan nyo, di ba? Maraming nakawan ng mga kable. Mga kable. Diba sa Manila, no, Miss Boliosos and Miss Alberto, di ba? Uso yung mga nakawan ng kable sa Manila kasi binebenta yung copper eh. Alright? Ayan. So, the total resistance of a circuit is found by simply adding up the resistance values of individual resistors. Ayan, kunyari, ayan, i-add nyo lang. O, resistance 1 plus resistance 2 plus resistance 3. Yun yung overall resistance ng circuit. No, kagaya nito. O yan. So just add. Pag yung ano ha, eto guys ha, pag series yung wiring ng resistance. Ito, this is a series connection, meaning one way lang yung flow ng electrons. So pag series, i-add nyo lang. Resistance ng resistor 1, resistor 2, resistor 3. Add nyo lang yun. Kunyari, resistance 1 is 2 ohms. Resistor 2 is 2 ohms. Resistor 3 is 2 ohms. E di 2 plus 2 plus 2, di 6 ohms lahat. Ganda lang yun guys. Pag series ha, pag series. Iba naman to pag parallel. Ito yung mga resistors, nakaparallel siya. Oh. the total resistance of the set of resistors in parallel is found by adding up the reciprocals of the resistance values and then taking the reciprocal of the total. Yan, no? So, reciprocal 1 over, kunyari, 2 ohms plus 1 over 2 ohms plus 1 over 2 ohms. Then, i-divide nyo lang yan. Yung result niyan, i-add nyo lang. O, di yun na yung total resistance in parallel. Okay, guys? So, yun lang. Ganun lang kadali. Di ba? O, kindly take note of the formula, ha? Yan, reciprocal of the total. Take and then taking the reciprocal of the total. So i-divide nyo rin pala. So yung total resistance, ayan, divided by 1. 1 divided by yung total. Okay? O, yan. Ito, yan. Ito, nakaano to, ha? Yan. If the values of the three resistors are the following. Ayan, ha, guys. Ito, example ito sa parallel, ha. Resistor 1 is 8 ohms, resistor 2 is 8 ohms, resistor 3 is 4. So, ang total resistance niya is yan, 1 over 8 plus 1 over 8 plus 1 over 4. Ayan, di ba? So, ang magiging ano niyan, 1 divided by 8, 1 divided by 8, and 1 divided by 4, i-total nyo yun. Yung total niyan is 1 divided by 2. So, the resistance is 2 ohms. Ayan, ha? Okay, guys. With a 10 volt battery by V equals R1, the total current in a circuit is current, ito I means current, guys. Hindi ko pa na-explain yung Ohm's law. Mamaya, kalimutan nyo muna to. Ito yung I'll explain Ohm's law later. So, ito yung sa parallel, ha, yung reciprocal. Ayan, ha. Speaking of Ohm's law, ito na pala. Ayan, ha, guys. Ito na yung last. So, everybody listen. Buhay pa ba kayo? Are you still alive? Ayan, ha. Ito very important tong Ohm's law. What is the Ohm's law? Ano ba itong Ohm's law? The Ohm's law shows the relationship between current. Ang symbol ng current is I, ha? I. Oo, kasi ang current, an amp to, pwedeng A to, kaya lang kasi sa formula I. I represents the electric current, which is in amperes. Sige, so the amount of current in a circuit is affected by voltage and resistance. Yan, no? So, ang ibig sabihin dito ni Ohm, ni George Simon Ohm, may relationship tong tatlo, yung current, voltage, and resistance. So, ito yung general formula. The flow of electrons or electric current is equivalent to voltage over resistance. Okay, the current in an electric circuit is directly proportional to the applied voltage and inversely proportional to the resistance. So hence, ito yung ating formula. Okay? Ayan, ha, guys. So memorizing nyo to, ha, yung formula ng Ohm's law. Okay. And we can make use of the triangle method. Kunyari, if current is unknown, edi ito yung formula, current is voltage over R. Pag voltage naman yung unknown, edi voltage is current times R. If R is unknown, edi voltage over current. So, edi pa ganun lang yun, guys. Ayan, ito yung mga derived formulas niya. Ha? Pag voltage is unknown, edi current times R. If I is unknown, yung current, edi current is voltage over R. If R is unknown, edi voltage over current. Ayan, ha? So, resistance is measured in ohms. I is measured in amps. V is measured in volts. Alright? Sige. So, ayan, ha, yung mga formulas na dapat ninyong malaman. Okay, tingnan natin to, guys, before we end. Sige, mag-sample problem tayo. So a toy car with a resistance of 2 ohms is connected to a 3-volt battery. How much current flows through the car? Sige nga guys. So anong hinahanap dito? Current. Yan, di ba? Current. So ano yung formula na gagamitin natin? I is equal to V over R. So V is 3. Resistance is 2 ohms. Ilan yung current guys? Sige nga. 1, tingnan natin ha. Yan, 3 divided by 2 is 1.5 amperes. Ganun lang guys. Very easy. Sige nga, let's try to fill up this table. Ayan, so volts, ohms, so resistance to. Ano yung resistance? Pag resistance, ano yung formula? Pag hinahanap natin yung resistance in ohms, yan, V over I. Okay guys, V over I. Ayan, V over I. So, V100 divided by 25. Ilan yan? 4 ohms. Very good. Okay, next. Resistance ulit. Resistance is V over I. 150 divided by 10. 15 ohms! Yun! Alright, very good. Okay, next. Ohms din ulit to, resistance. So, ano yung ohms? Ano yung resistance? Let's see. 2 ohms. Yun! 2 ohms. Alright. Volts naman, guys. Pag volts, ano yung formula? Diba, pag volts is... tingnan natin dito. I times R. I times R. I is amps. Anyone? Sige. Ano yung voltage nito? Amps niya 5 amperes, 9 ohms. Ano yung volts? Volts! Come on! Volts! 45 volts. Yun! 45 volts. Last, 8 amps. What? 8 amps. Yun, ha? Alright, guys. So, ganun lang. Ganun lang kadali. Okay? Ayan. Eto. Sige nga. What is the voltage if the resistance of 25 ohms produces a current of 250 amperes? So, sige nga, guys. Ano daw yung voltahe? Pag voltage, ano yung formula? Diba, voltage is I times R. Sige. Baka gusto mo nang ituloy, Miss Jewel. Ilan yung voltage? What is the voltage? Voltage. Resistance niya. Voltage is...
Sir. 6,250, sir.
6,000?
Ay, tama ba? Voltage yun, di ba? Multiply?
Voltage. I times R, di ba?
Yes, sir. 6,250.
6,250. Let's check it out. 6,250 volts. Di ba? Yun lang, guys. Okay, so yun yung application ng Ohm's Law, ha? Alright?